Yo, it's the Mr. Carter of Expat Relocation.
What are you guys fighting about?
Homework.
You guys are fighting about homework? I think I'm in the wrong school.
Here in Southeast Asia, ready to help you get on your feet because you know you want to teach English. You know you want to teach the English to the youth. So we're going to help you understand a better way of approaching that. Those of you who are new to the channel, I used to have a channel a long time ago called the White Monkey Syndicate. Eventually got taken down. I definitely made a lot of sensitive foreigners, melt down and go crazy. But basically, the whole thing was me trolling about how unqualified I was as an ESL teacher, but yet I still had the same job as some ding dong with a master's degree in philosophy, right? And that would really trigger some people, but some people really appreciated it. And over the years, I built a good relationship with a lot of my clients. And Uncle Hollywood here is one of my longest clients. And we've been friends now. It's not even business anymore. We make money together now. I wanted to introduce you guys to him who are new to the channel. He's got his own YouTube channel. You can see Uncle Hollywood. We'll throw the link in the description. He's just kind of doing his thing around Saigon. He's just getting started, so please encourage him, give him advice. Guys, if you're thinking about coming to Southeast Asia to teach English, we got you. We got the contacts you need for employment. Reach me on any of the contact information in the description below. But I think we'll start the conversation off today with what is the overall feeling in Saigon that English teachers are having right now is with all the changes that are happening and all the visa disruption and like the new rules that are coming in. What's the climate like? What's the culture feel like right now?
Well, I can only tell you a little bit. When I go for my border runs and everything, I talk to there's so many foreigners doing a border run because it's hard to get visas right now. So I'll talk to them, and they just said it's all the new paperwork that has to be done, and it's taking forever to do stuff. And their centers are still unsure of how many schools they have. So there's a lot of unsurety, I guess, and a lot of red tape to cut through to get everything done. And foreigners don't like waiting.
No, and foreigners misunderstand Vietnamese bureaucracy and Vietnamese business culture, and it creates a lot of confusion and stress and complication. But you've been there now for a pretty long time, and I think you have like the right approach to kind of assessing situations. Even sometimes when I'm unsure of something, I'll turn to you and try to get your advice on it. And I think it's important for people who are coming to Southeast Asia to recognize that just does not happen overnight. Like you have to really live and spend time in Vietnam in order to start to understand Vietnam and business culture. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. In every other country, when you ride a motorbike, you stop your bike with the back brake. In Vietnam, they stop it with the front brake. So I can't make that any better analogy. It's the 3 years I've been here. The last 2 years were good. It's I guess it's the new people that are taking over because there was a lot of stuff going on here in Vietnam with bribery and taking money that I'm guessing everybody doesn't want to do anything. Like I have to go for my criminal record check. Normally, sometimes your company or you have somebody that's taking care of it for you will go and do it for you. Now they're making all the foreigners go there and do it yourself. But I mean,
yep,
it's a long day. I mean, I'm gonna go Wednesday. I was supposed to go last week, but I couldn't go. And I'm gonna get there at 6:30 a.m. and it opens at 7. So hopefully I'll be out by 1. Hopefully.
Yeah, I used to do this every year in the beginning because, all my first work permits when I was teaching, I just went down to the Ministry of Police and did the background check myself. The issue that's happening now is that the head of the Ministry of Police, I guess, has gotten themselves into some sort of a legal pickle. And now that makes all those background checks that were done before void. So now I have to come back to Saigon next month myself, and I have to do another background check. So we'll be hanging out.
Also, something new, which I think will be a lot of confusion. I was just told this last week, brand new. Normally, you have to, when you get a criminal record check, you have to have a place where you're living and give them proof of address. And you used to have to go to the station, get it stamped, pay them a little money to get it stamped, because they'll tell you in the beginning they don't do it until you show them money. That's stamped. Okay. I got that one. It's okay. Now they don't stamp anymore. Supposedly it's on a computer. You're in the system.
Yes. Everything has been moved to an internet portal.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works. It's the first time I'm dealing with that, going to the criminal check. Normally, because last time I went there, they told me what to do, did exactly that. Went back, said, "Oh, you didn't do exactly what I did." The cop who stamped it didn't stamp the whole stamp on the whole paper. It's like a little bit was off the paper.
One of our clients is having a really long delay with his work permit because he entered into Vietnam and the immigration official decided to not give him an entry stamp. So even though his business visa was valid, they let him through immigration. And then when, he doesn't know, so when we go to file for his work permit, all of a sudden the question comes up, where is the stamp? And then because everything's being moved online, they have to debate over whether his case will be solved in Saigon or in Hanoi, because he had originally flown into Hanoi. So now, the delays, everything is delayed a lot. I think your point about that is very important. Like, things are kind of crazy in Vietnam at the moment. It is what it is.
Once you're in, it's good. Once you get once you get your 2-year temporary resident card, you don't have to worry about visas. Everything's done and squared up. And Vietnam is awesome. You could travel. I just went to Quy Nhon. It's an up and coming Quy Nhon. I posted some videos on Hollywood's journey. Not many foreigners have videos there. Only 1 or 2 I've seen. So I got stuff coming up. Beautiful beach. It was like $40 to go there. The airport, the best I've ever been through. I blew my nose and I went. It was so simple. I posted a video on it. So it's cheap to travel within Vietnam, and once you don't have to worry about a visa, everything else is cheap. And as a teacher, you can probably get a little bit more money now, also right now at this time. A lot of teachers are leaving.
And guys, I got to tell you, I just got 2 native speaking foreigners employment as English teachers without degrees, and the company is securing them a work permit. I don't know the process of which they're doing it, but they're a company that I have a really good working experience with, and they treat teachers in reasonable ways, But this is the first time I'm hearing of these companies starting to talk like that again. Because over you can tell us, Uncle Hollywood, but over the last year or so, there's been much more complication around getting the visa. You hear less about service companies, like those things have stopped existing.
Right now, I'm in the process of getting my work permit. It's normally 6 to 8 weeks. It's probably been 6 to 8 months. So, once it's done, and I know the people you're using, I'm using, so I know it works. It's legit. It's all up to par on the law and everything. Nothing illegal.
I'm not saying it's legal the way that the school I mentioned is doing it, because I have no idea how they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's, I just know that they are getting 2 American native speakers work permits. They're going to deduct it from their salary over the course of 3 months, the way it was before the pandemic. So the fact that that's happening again, but the way that we work, the way we're working for Uncle Hollywood is the fully legal process, right? So it's more bureaucratic, but we feel like it's safer in the long run. So like if something were to go wrong, everything was done in the way it was supposed to be done. And it's hard for them to kind of dig up reasons to fuck with you or to get money from you. As long as you're maintaining your company and you're taking care of your quarterly reporting, or in Hollywood's case, he's going to have a specific role within a company. But what's good about Hollywood is we have about 3 different people trying to do it for Hollywood right now, including the original employer we set him up with years ago. So either one of my guys who does consulting for businesses is going to get it for him, or one of the employment agencies that we gave him years ago is going to get it for him. So sooner or later, one of them's coming through.
Yeah, I'm getting it. And the second one that you just mentioned is kind of brand new. Before it was, we can't help you. Now it's, give me your medical and your criminal check.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 months ago.
So would you say that that you think since the pandemic, this is one of the more relaxed times for like English teaching employment, or would you say it's still very high tension, or a bit of a mix of both?
It depends on the school and your company. If your company makes it hard, you're stressed. If your company is legit and your school is nice and it's, and you're in a decent district, it's smooth running, man. I mean, you work in, 7:30 to 4:30, and maybe have international school up till 5, and I work at a center at night a few nights a week. So it's there. I mean, it's smooth. But if you get a company that you're not aware of or don't know anything about, that they have bad reputation, then it's a hard time. You could lose thousands of dollars, a headache, and have to go back home.
And some of these companies, officially, they're not supposed to be able to blacklist you legally, but because some of the companies have, family members that are in the government or things like this, they can create a lot of stress and a lot of problems for you with your visa. They can put you in situations where it could be difficult for you to come back to Vietnam. So you've got to, you don't know who owns some of these companies, and like the bigger operations are obviously going to have more financing behind them. And just because something looks kind of corporate-y in Vietnam does not mean that you should make that association with the West. Like, there's a really different business culture here than there is in the West. And just because people are wearing suits or someone is called a lawyer doesn't always mean that it's going to work the way you think it's going to work in the West. Would you agree?
Well, yeah. They stop with their front brake. So don't expect it. That's, what happens when you stop with your front brake? You flip over the handlebars. You got to get up, dust yourself off, put your helmet on. And by that time, you're back in the line. You got to start over again with anything in Vietnam. So, I mean, it's what it is. I don't know how to explain it. I always say this on your videos. If anybody watches Superman and his alter ego, Bizarro, and you go to Bizarro World and everything is backwards, that's Vietnam. So
you say that a lot.
Done. It takes time. Hopefully you get a good. I know they just closed a big company down. So I mean, they are looking into some stuff. My suggestion is you go through somebody reputable like you, and you get a good company. Doesn't have to be 2,000 teachers, maybe 300 and lower. And I think those companies are fine. It's the ones that have, schools all over Vietnam. So.
Yeah, because if in a lot of these places, they're going to look more professional, but they're also going to like kind of view you as a very like expendable slave, whereas a smaller company, you might be kind of a big breadwinner for them. So you're going to have a little bit more power in your negotiations, and you're going to be a little bit more valuable, and especially if you're a native speaker.
Right. And a lot of these schools that try to get you online is where they get you, because you're signing stuff or meeting them. So I would suggest that once again, you go through you, or you come here and then go through you, or however it works, and then meet them face to face and see everything.
I tell people this all the time.
You go online. Oh yeah. We're gonna pay. We're gonna pay for your motorbike, a place for you to live. We're gonna give you health insurance. You're gonna work here, and then you get here. The motorbike they gave you is a tricycle. Your apartment is a toilet, and you're working in district.
You're working like in Dong Nai.
Yeah, I mean. So always try to go through somebody to trust that actually is here before going to the company, the teaching company. One more thing. You get morons on Facebook that will write, this company is this company is that. Don't worry, you can do it. They're idiots. Don't listen to anybody on Facebook.
Whatever you do.
That's my theory. Facebook. Like you have a lot of videos, you have a lot of outlets, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I mean, you're on everything. hundreds of people. I know about 60 of the people you got into the country. I've had beers with them. Even when they come visit from Australia, like people that you get back there and they come back and they want to meet up with you and have a drink, you know. So I mean, it's like.
Well, that's what I was going to say before was, guys, like if you're thinking about coming to Southeast Asia, just reach out to me on the fan page. You know, like I said, my customers often the time become my longtime friends. I'm actually quite optimistic because this is the first time that I saw them like have a very like easy solution for the native speaking foreigner with no degree. This was the first, you know, because for the last like almost like, I wouldn't say full, maybe almost a year, it's been quite difficult. Like if you don't have a degree, like centers are scrambling, trying to figure out how to do it. Like, you know, places are not going to be able to comply.
I don't have a degree. And I just
but I mean,
international school.
Fake international school.
It says international. It's air conditioned. That's nice. That you only have 15 students. That's good. For me, that is a way that might as well be a university compared to what I've been doing the last three years.
But that's how it is here in Cambodia. Also in Cambodia, generally the teachers, they work about like similar to a Vietnamese public school, but they're in these little private schools that are basically where the middle class sends their kids to learn English, and they pay them like $1,000 to $1,500, and they're all fake international schools also. I mean, they have real international schools here too, of course. You know, that's another thing. Like Uncle Hollywood is saying, like no degree, no problem with the fake international school. Now these two foreigners I just got employment for, the school was not concerned. They were just like, here's the deal. And they were like, okay, we'll do it. So maybe some things are changing around the Vietnamese education business. Maybe the shortage of foreigners, you know, maybe they're trying to address that and bring in. I mean, I can imagine they lost probably, how many teachers do you think they lost over the pandemic, Hollywood?
A lot. I mean, I'd be honest, you know, you used to go to district. I go out. I drink a few beers here and there. I like going to see live music. Used to see a lot of foreigners in there in District 2 and District 3. Now you don't see as many. So something's going on. Like I walk around, I maybe see 2 a day, a lot less. A lot of them, if they do have a college degree, why wait in such a cluster F right now? When you go to Thailand, man, you know, chronic is legal and you might make a little less, but it's a lot nicer. You know, that's why I'm glad you got a lot of connections there, because you know, at one point I might even, you knock on your door, the red door, say, Thailand, here I come.
I have some contacts in Thailand also.
Yeah. So they're going there, or Laos.
Or Cambodia.
Cambodia, yeah. They're going around. If you're going to take forever, I'll just go somewhere else while I'm waiting. And then they like it probably a little bit more there. Who knows? And then they stay there. I mean, I've seen some of your videos on Laos and how cheap it is. I mean, so, and it looks like a nice Western place and stuff. I mean, your videos are good. It shows good detail of what's there. If you like it, your videos kind of show it.
Check out the Lao playlist if you're interested in seeing what Uncle Hollywood is talking about. We have a Lao playlist from our time in Lao. I was very impressed with Lao. Cambodia is also going to be a rising star for English teaching, just because there are a lot of like relatively easy jobs here. And if you're trying to start your own business, this is not the worst country for business climate. It's a lot easier than in Vietnam. Lao is also easier than in Vietnam. Thailand and Vietnam are probably the most complicated bureaucracies with the most bullshit that you're going to put up with. But I also have contacts in Central Asia, if you guys don't mind the cold. Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Mongolia. We have contacts for employment in China, but you know, getting into China right now will require some capital. So you know, we can definitely get you set up with good jobs in China. So please feel free to reach out to me on the fan page about that as well. We have a lot of different ways to help.
I was just online at immigration, and I was talking to a teacher there who just came back from China. He said there's a lot of foreign teachers there, but he said he left right now because there was he felt something was happening, so he wanted he took his gut and he came to Vietnam. But
my one friend gave up his $100,000 a year job in America to go back to China He's my partner over there. We use for services, for consulting services in China. He speaks Chinese. I'm not going to say what city he's in because he doesn't want me to, because some of the facilitating he does. But he is in China, speaks Chinese, lived in China for 15 years, gave up $100,000 a year to go teach 10 hours a week in China.
You know what? I might do that if you can make a great living and you travel a little bit and you're not working your ass off all month. You know, you like here in Vietnam, I worked a lot last year and I still only worked, 30 hours a week. That's
I don't think that you're gonna
hours month. Here you're working 120 and you're busy at 120. So I mean, I always, like I said in your other videos, I mean, you got a college degree, or even now if you don't, but if you have a college, you make more money.
Better, much better.
You come here, even if you have kids. I see a lot of foreigners that bring their children with them. They get teaching jobs here, and they bring. It's better for me. I've been to like 40 countries. I've learned a lot more traveling than going to opening up a textbook and reading about it. I couldn't imagine as a 10-year-old going to Vietnam and going to school, and just seeing, oh wow, we got it pretty good over there. And I think that's huge. So I mean, I would bring kids here if I had kids. And just saying.
A lot of people do here in Cambodia also, because it's easier for foreigners to open businesses. So you have a lot of foreigners that open restaurants, guest houses, cafes. I mean, you could come to Cambodia with only a couple $1,000s, rent a house, and then easily open a business in your house. And the government, they're going to at some point force you to be legal, but it's going to be a much more painless process compared to doing the same thing in Vietnam or in Thailand, for example.
It does seem that it's a little easier. It's starting to open up easier in Cambodia.
Mm-hmm.
Business friendly. They're one of the poorest Asian countries, so they have to get more money in, and the revenue is there if they just open up their laws a little bit, and they did. And I'm guessing they're gonna make a little bit more money in the process.
Well, it's been the most consistent business visa and more or less like process to live in for long term for quite a long time. And even during the pandemic, they were not as intense or as crazy as Vietnam was. It was a lot more chill here. People could still walk around their area and go shopping, like kind of how things were in the beginning of Vietnam is how it sort of stayed throughout most of the time in Cambodia. This is more or less how my friends who are expats explained it to me. But as you know, I was in Vietnam and then I was in the Balkans.
Right. Balkans are nice too. I've been to Balkans.
I'm thinking about going. I'm thinking about going back in another couple months. But
when they booted you off YouTube for the stupidest reason, and you had to go back, did you lose your some of your videos from the Balkans?
I lost all the White Monkey Syndicate videos, except for the ones that we had started to edit, like to properly edit and save. Like once we switched on to Adobe and we were first learning Adobe.
Gotta go back and get more videos.
But they're better in a way, man. They're a little bit more put together. You can see the learning process. Before it was just me catting off with my fucking cell phone in a public school with like 60 kids attacking me and shit,
That's what I got. That's what I got on my videos on my channel, Hollywood's Journey. So
how much are you making now? What do you make a month if you grind between your day job, your night job? What are you doing for a day job? What are you doing for a night job? Can you just explain it a bit in detail?
I would say the average teacher here will get about 75 hours a month to 90. I was getting 90, and I'll tell you, can I tell you how much I made?
Sure.
Or just roundabout?
Roundabout.
For my first job, I was making about 1,200.
Okay, that's on the lower end.
If I had, because you never know the days they take off. So if you have 70 hours, you're making about 1,100. If you're doing about 100 hours or 90 hours, you're making 1,400. I just did the average because there's a lot of months where they have breaks and stuff. So the average is probably 12. And then I worked at a learning center 3 nights a week for 9 hours a week. So all in
So
all,
you're doing 12 in the public schools?
I was doing 12 in the public schools and about 8 or 6 to 8, depending if we had the time off in the night school.
Okay, so in the public school, you were doing 12 hours and you were getting, you said 12 million or?
I was doing minimum 70 hours a month. And
okay, and how much were you getting?
So if I average it, comes into $1,200. I make less than $500,000. I make a little bit more than $450.
Okay, but you're saying $1,200, right?
Yeah, for the day job. But it's one 13, 1 month it could be 12 or 13, depending on what it is. You know.
But that's only for 12 hours of work.
No, that was for
76 hours. So what is that, 18 hours?
Hours a month. So I was doing 18 hours a week.
Oh, okay. So you're doing a little bit under full time.
Yeah. I was doing maybe 18 hours a week. It works like this. You go to class at 7:30, and then you do 2 classes that are 35 minutes, and then you get a break. 35 minutes, 2 classes, go home for lunch, repeat, recycle in the afternoon. So you're doing about
breaks are long.
Right. That's why I live near the schools. So it recommend, if you know your school, live next to your school. So you're not driving.
So one of the reasons why you earn a little bit less is also because you work a lot. You work and live outside of the city center. So your area is also very cheap.
Yeah, I live in Tan Phu. So I'm not District 2 or Tudak or District 1 or District 3. You're going to make a little bit more in the centers. I choose to live in the center where things, if you're going to spend $5 on something, where I live, it's $2.50. So, I mean.
It's much cheaper.
Right. So I wanted to live in the middle of Vietnam. I didn't come here to live with other foreigners. Right. I wanted to experience Vietnam and moving in the center of Tan Phu, right next to the school I was working at, because then it only takes you 8 minutes to get home on a bike and then you go home, and it's much easier. If you got to go to a cafe and sit in a cafe and drink a tea for your breaks and stuff, it's a long day. So
guys, let me clarify a little bit so that you can get a better idea, because Hollywood, what he's earning is kind of different. He's outside of the center. When Mish was working, my wife, Michelle, she was working 20 hours a week. She was making about $1,800 a month. And then when I was working, I was always working like either 7 hours or 12 hours or something like this. But I was making about, I think, between 18 and 21 or $22 an hour. And occasionally I was making $25 an hour at a very fancy language center that was basically a money laundering operation, because we only had like 2 customers, and the fucking place was like in this fancy shopping mall in Bintan. So just to give you an idea, like you're not necessarily going to go to Vietnam and make only $1,200. Like, this is very specifically a Hollywood situation. He also came with no degree, no experience, and he moved outside of the center of the city.
Yes. I mean, like I said, the only thing I knew was watching your videos. That's how I watched other videos, but they were, they seemed like they were politicians almost. After all my research, and I did a lot of research before I went, I've ended up talking to you, and good choice. Now, I could have made a little bit more money. I could have probably made $500 an hour if I went to District 1. Then you're making what everybody else is. But like I said, money's important. There's other ways to make money. I took a little less, and I ended up getting a night job 4 nights a week, making about $600 to $800, and my tutoring's about $500. So I'm making over $2,000. So in America, you're working $150 to $190 a month and making that.
Are you saying like you're getting $500 like dollars, or $500 like dong an hour? Just so we're clear for your night job.
Dong an hour.
500,000 Vietnam dong for 1 hour, right?
Right. When I make a little less with the company I'm with now because I'm in the middle of on food. But when I do my tutoring, I make 600.
Okay, so you're making 600,000 Vietnam dong for the tutoring in the evening, and a little bit under 500. Now, guys, don't worry about the US dollar conversion, because you also want to think about, you are in Vietnam, so the buying power of that money will be pretty significant. Vietnam has gotten more expensive, but I was just living in Nha Trang, and Nha Trang is one of the cheapest cities in Vietnam. It is extremely inexpensive. Now, there's not a lot of teaching work in Nha Trang, but for like digital nomads or investors, I mean, I don't think I've seen a place that's that cheap that can offer oceanfront, comforts. Like Uncle Hollywood was talking about, Queen Young.
I looked. They have job openings there for English teachers, and they make about $1,200 a month there, which is
bro. I just got an offer for the two Americans, the ones with no degrees. I got them an offer for 2 G's each in Phan Thi, and Phan Thi is Moi Ne.
Yeah.
But then when they found out they didn't have the degree, they didn't want them, because I mean, if they're going to pay $2,000 and they're next to Moi Ne, I think they can find what they're looking for.
The problem is that, you get somebody with a college degree and then you put them in a public school and they're sweating their ass off. And I'm the man of analogies tonight. Working in a public school, go into your car, roll up the windows, blast the heat, blast the music, make sure you're parked in the sun, not in any shade. And that's what a class is like.
I mean, what they should do is they should get rid of the degree requirement altogether for the public schools, because you really can't get anybody to do it, because it's the worst job that you could do in teaching. Like, in terms of comfort, it's maybe the easiest in terms of responsibility. I mean, I was able to build my business while I was doing this, and I spent my whole day thinking about business and just reading a couple words out of a book. It was very easy. Like, your responsibility level it's not much responsibility.
Yeah, no, I teachers that are at international schools, they're on their computer making their games and their my objectives, and public school. I show up. What page are we on? I go to the kids sometimes. What unit we on? Tell me.
Now, if you ever want to really make some money, I got connections for some jobs in Korea. But it's, you're going to need the degree to be legal, but they, for the most part, for a long time, look the other way with the illegal teaching. They sort of just let it happen. And Americans get 90 days on arrival, and one-on-ones, I believe, are going for about $30 to $50 an hour.
Nice.
So, you would obviously not be working legally if you didn't have a degree, but it is something that is available if you guys need contacts for employment in Korea. And especially if you do have a degree, I have a contact there that he's looking to place teachers, so we can offer you a sole service as well.
I'm 52, so going back, used to be a Crazy Eddie's.
I remember.
Remember Crazy Eddie? We got your CBs, we got your two-way radios.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's Crazy Eddie's. Come on down. That's kind of what it's like. I would be like trying to sell people in America saying, Crazy Asia, come on down, stop working 200 hours a week, make the same amount of money and cost half less. I'd make some crazy video like that or something, because that's what it's that you don't do it.
So guys, if you're from the New York metropolitan area, for some context, you might know who Crazy Eddie is, but if you're not from the New York metropolitan area, you wouldn't know. It was just a personality from advertising from like the 80s and very early 90s in the New York metropolitan area.
It's Crazy Eddie's greatest stereo sale ever. Get anything and everything in stereo equipment. Get it all now during Crazy Eddie's greatest stereo sale ever. Crazy Eddie, his prices are insane.
Basically, yes, Uncle Hollywood is correct. You can come out here. You can have a very high standard of living. The door is definitely closing in terms of just easy visas and being able to show up in Vietnam and just not really worry about it, because they are bringing back the 3-month tourist visa. But you can actually start, if you want to check this yourselves, guys, you can ask around on Facebook groups. People will tell you that they've been having the police come by apartments and they're checking visas on people who are renting apartments. Because when you rent an apartment in Vietnam, you have to register your address. Some apartments may not do this, but it's illegal. and you can have problems getting your work permit or things like this if they don't register you. But now what they're doing is when they register the foreigner, they're starting to say, well, why is the foreigner on a tourist visa if they have a 6-month lease in Bintan, you know? Like, so even though the 3-month tourist visa is coming back, I think you know, getting yourself a real legal status here, guys, this is something you really want to focus on, because Vietnam's not playing with this reform they're doing. Things have definitely changed. The system looks very different. The situation is the craziest that I've seen it since COVID, really. And, you know, it's a time where having us help you find a job could be very helpful to avoid a lot of stress and problems. If you guys are interested in checking out Uncle Hollywood's YouTube channel, I'll leave a link in the description below. If you guys are thinking about coming to Southeast Asia, Central Asia, employment contacts in Korea, China, just get at me. There's all different pricing. And now I got to say, guys, from here forward, I'm going to start doing my advice and my consulting in a very different way. When people contact me, I'm going to give them about 15 or so minutes of my time where I can explain the service that they're asking for or how I can facilitate for them. And then beyond that, if people have more questions and they want to ask more in-depth questions, I'm going to make my time available based on an hourly rate for being able to ask as many questions as you want to ask in that time. And then to show that I'm a decent guy, I'm going to take that amount and apply it to whatever service or local contact that you get from me. So if we're doing something like opening a company and we talk for a couple hours, I will take that money and apply it to the larger service. So it's that way my time isn't wasted. That way you're getting value and you're being shown that, you know, for me, it's more about trust and relationships than it is about money, but also that my time is valuable and that I goof around on the YouTube. I mean, I seem like I can, you know, I seem personable. And I am, guys, but at the end of the day, I also am running a business and I need to make sure that my time is being respected, because I have customers who've already paid me that are going through stresses, dealing with things with the Vietnamese government and border runs. And I need to be able to be available for the clients that have paid. So please, you know, let's respect each other's time. And if you're thinking about coming to Southeast Asia, I would love to help you get started. Uncle Hollywood, he's the man. Thank you for telling us a little bit about what it's like to teach right now in Vietnam. I like to do these updates because Hollywood is still in the thick of it, still doing the public schools, fake international schools, still doing the training centers. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave them with, Big Uncle?
Yes, I would. If you're going on a border run, make sure you have at least 2 pages left in your passport now, because they're turning away people that only have 1 page left. So you get all the way to the border, have all your stuff done, then they're telling you, we're not letting you in. So make sure you have 2 pages left. Advice from Uncle Hollywood. And if you like,
guys can
my channel, travel, tips, school, Vietnam, Europe. I've been everywhere. I've done everything. Trust me. I even tried out for Ninja Warrior. There's a video on there. But my tip of the day is 2 pages in your passport if you're going to the border.
And guys, Phnom Penh, you know, everything is pretty much normal here in the city. This is where I am at the moment. The election is over. So it just remains to see how the border crossings will be affected by this. As of right now, land borders are definitely going to be a little bit more messy than dealing with air borders. And there's a lot of changes about how long you have to leave Vietnam to reapply for business visas while you're waiting for them to eventually finish your paperwork, which is just seems to be never ending. And there's always some kind of a delay. So you need to come into this kind of having that in mind and not coming in having Western expectations, and it will save you a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety. You have to kind of put yourself into the thought process of the country you're living in, and I think that's where we're very helpful. Thank you for watching, guys. Subscribe, share, smash the like button. Please check out Uncle Hollywood's channel. He's a character. He used to pitch for the Mets. He pitched for the Mets, for the New York Mets. And, you know, then he went off and became an English teacher. So I'll let him tell you that story. He should tell you that story on his YouTube channel.
I should tell my story about that a little bit. My story doesn't just stop. Oh, it goes a lot of ways.
You should walk around Tan Phu and tell them the story. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and share. If you guys are thinking about doing any kind of business out here, not just ESL employment, but opening up companies, investment, any of these countries, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Philippines, We have people for all that. If your guys are looking for stuff in China, Korea, Central Asia, Balkans, if you're looking to structure companies in Europe, if you need contacts in Mexico or Latin America, just reach out to us. We got you covered. Just because we're living in Southeast Asia, it doesn't mean I don't have my hands in a bunch of different pies.
Brush your face and wash your teeth, son.
Hey, what's up? I'm D from Canada. Hook up with the New York Nomad if you want a smooth ride into Vietnam or any Southeast Asian countries.
Hey, my name is Aaron. Get in contact with the New York Nomads. If you want to get into Vietnam, hit them up. They'll get you in securely and professionally.
Yo, this is Uncle Hollywood. I'm telling you right now, the New York Nomad got me a job. He's legit. Hit him up. Check him out.
New York Nomad set me up in Vietnam.
Yo, my man got me a job. Come to Vietnam.
Hey, what's up, guys? You thinking about coming to Vietnam? You're not sure where to start. You've heard a lot of things online. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not. We offer a consulting service where we help you get on your feet in Vietnam. We give you advice on negotiating contracts with employers. We help you with real estate agents, visa agents that are reliable and that you can trust. And we help you get started in this amazing country and get on your feet. We help you get into different opportunities that might be more difficult for you if you were just landing in the country on your own. And we help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and problems that you could have as a newcomer here. We provide you with reliable job recruiters, visa agents, real estate agents, and advice. If you guys are thinking about coming to Vietnam, hit us up for a consultation. We'll help you get started, help you get on your feet, and hopefully you'll love Vietnam as much as we do.